10 movie mistakes that you totally missed. The movies listed ahead are some of our all-time favorites, but they also have some of the biggest mistakes. As you'll see, these massively popular films suffer from a variety of errors and goofs, which most of us miss the first time we watch them. From crew members being where they shouldn't be, to continuity errors, to mistakes in animation, these films show that even the blockbusters and classics aren't 100% perfect. Frozen. This animated film was one of the biggest hits of 2013, and if you have kids, you are probably a little tired of hearing the song, Let It Go. To be honest, there are a number of continuity mistakes with various objects disappearing from scene to scene. That said, it's actually during the scene where Elsa's performing the hit song that animators broke the law of physics. Really getting into her performance, Elsa lets her hair down to belt out the tune. 1 second, her braid is down her back, and the next, it's somehow sliced right through her left arm to appear in front. Magical powers or not, this is one mistake that just doesn't make sense. Lord of the Rings: The Two Towers. Another smash hit movie that is full of small mistakes. In such a long movie series with so many details and extras, there are bound to be a couple problems. In the scene where Pippin and Merry escape from Uruk-hai, there is one big continuity error. While crawling away from the fighting behind them, their hands are firmly tied. Then, when a horse almost comes crashing down on Pippin, his hands are magically free. Jurassic Park. Everyone loves mysterious lands and everyone loves dinosaurs. That's why the 1993 film Jurassic Park was such a huge hit. For the time, it had such great special effects and numerous small goofs and errors to match. If you watch closely during the scene where the velociraptors are hunting the children in the kitchen, you may notice an out-of-place hand. When the raptor comes to the kitchen door, a crewman puts their hand on the creature's tail in order to steady it as it makes a grand entrance. It's not overly noticeable, but once you see it, you can never unsee it. Spider-Man. Definitely the movie that kicked off the whole comic book film resurgence, Spider-Man follows the character of Peter Parker while he balances his newfound superpowers with living a normal life. Entertaining to say the least, Spider-Man does have its share of mistakes. One of the most noticeable errors occurs during the scene where Peter is trying to use his web shooter in his bedroom. In the process, he catches a lamp and smashes it. Aunt May comes to see what is going on, and audiences find the very same lamp in the back on the dresser without any damage. The Shining. The film that gave a whole new meaning to the phrase, "Here's Johnny!" The Shining is a horror movie loved by millions. Unfortunately, this Stanley Kubrick classic is also full of noticeable mistakes. For instance, the opening shot of the Overlook Hotel contains no hedge maze, just a parking lot. Yet in the film, the maze is clearly right beside the main building. As an added bonus, every shot of the maze, whether a model, map, or the real thing, is different and depicts a completely different layout. Commando. While Arnold Schwarzenegger films are action-packed, they also contain more than a few mistakes. In Commando, for instance, Arnold is desperately trying to stop a bad guy before he can send a message that will get his daughter killed. In the ensuing car chase, Arnold gets the bad guy but smashes up his bright yellow Porsche in the process. Undeterred, audiences watched as the hero hopped into the crumbled ride and drives off. The biggest problem? As Arnold drives off, the Porsche has somehow fixed itself and there's not a scratch to be seen. Raiders of the Lost Ark. Indiana Jones is one of the most iconic film characters of all time. Moviegoers are so fond of this series of films that they are willing to overlook the Kingdom of the Crystal Skull's existence, and the fact that the character of Indiana Jones is largely inconsequential to the storyline of Raiders. Nonetheless, there is one mistake that some people can't let go of. Great effort was put into making a Tanzanian town look like Cairo in the 1930s. It was all thrown out the window when an extra wearing a t-shirt and blue jeans walked through the scene where Indy is sitting at a table with his monkey. Gladiator. The movie that put Russell Crowe on the map, Gladiator follows the exploits of a Roman general who is forced into slavery and fights to avenge the murder of his family. The movie had grand battle scenes and considerable effort put into costume and scenery. Despite all the visual work, there are several noticeable mistakes that film buffs love to point out. For instance, during the Colosseum races, one chariot spikes the wall and flips, landing on its side. A cover falls away from what is clearly a compressed air cylinder meant to help the chariot flip over. Red Dragon. In 2002, Red Dragon reintroduced us to psychotic murderer and cannibal Dr. Hannibal Lecter in a prequel of the films Silence of the Lambs and Hannibal. Those of you paying close attention would have noticed a mistake when Agent Will Graham was going through the lead's house. When he opens the drawer full of movies, did you see the copy of Mrs. Doubtfire? Red Dragon is set sometime in the 1980s, but definitely before 1991. Mrs. Doubtfire was released in 1993, which means the prop people goofed or the leads were capable of time travel. Star Wars. George Lucas's 1977 sci-fi film is considered one of the most culturally significant films of the last 50 years. Considering when it was made, the special effects are pretty good, and it's one of those movies you can watch over and over and over again. That said, it has mistakes. Probably one of the most famous occurs on the Death Star when stormtroopers enter a room looking for Luke, Han, and Chewbacca. If you look closely, the door to the room never opened up enough, leading one stormtrooper to smack his head. Unable to use CGI to edit that goof out, Lucas opted to embrace the mistake by adding an audible thunk in future releases of the film. Thanks for watching. If you want to see other movie mistakes, bloopers, and facts about popular films and TV shows, check out our good friends at Screen Rant, and don't forget to subscribe to their channel. Thanks!